We're back! I was trying to harmonize with you, but you were just trying to sing what I was singing.
I'm just going with the flow.
Welcome back to episode 4.
So,
welcome back!
Today's
Queer Drunk History. Queer Drunk History. Queer Drunk Herstory. Queer Drunk Vaystory. Go ahead.
Queer Drunk Your Story.
Ooh. Queer Drunk Our Story.
Oh! So today I will be the leader. I will be telling Hannah my story
This is true.
of the next LGBTQ plus icon in history. And before I tell you and get into the story about them, we're drinking a classic. Hannah, you want to tell?
I'm gonna say this, but I don't want any fucking comments about being a ginger. Sweep it on to the left, right? I don't want to hear it because we're having a whiskey ginger. Cheers.
Cheers.
Please.
A lot of mixologists are going to be like, whiskey ginger isn't a cocktail. And I agree with you. Shh. Stop yelling at us. I agree with you. It is not a cocktail. It is a spirit mixed with a soda, which technically is not a cocktail. However, there is a historical value to it that we'll get into later, so stay tuned for that.
We're just calling it a cocktail because
It's just
life is short, we do what we want.
boom, what she said. Okay, so today on Queer Drunk History, we're talking about the one, the only Gladys Bentley.
Gladys, I love the name Gladys.
Well, baby, buckle up.
Click. Let's fucking go. I love the name Gladys.
We're talking about the one, the only Gladys Bentley. Who is Gladys Bentley, you might ask, and you might
Who is
ask.
Gladys Bentley?
I'm going to tell you in short that Gladys Bentley is an iconic blues singer and pianist, a legend of the Harlem Renaissance.
Let's do it.
She was revolutionary in her masculinity, and she did not ever try to pass as a man or perform as a drag king, but instead, and I'm quoting from the Wikipedia article, she exerted a black female masculinity, and she defied gender normative behaviors and femininity. So she was never once like, I'm a man, this is who I am. She was just like, no, this is me, I happen to be who I am, and I ooze masculinity.
Cool.
Which is really
I was gonna
sexy
say
to
that's
me.
like you.
That is kind of like me, and I also think that's like really sexy. It's like, no, you can call me she, her, but it's just like, I just happen to ooze masculinity.
That's my type.
Oh!
Is
Okay.
Gladys my type?
Gladys is your
Am I attracted to Gladys?
Born on August 12th, 1907 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Gladys Bentley was the eldest of 4 children and had a complicated relationship with her mother. Don't we all?
Who doesn't? Love you, Mom.
Gladys felt rejected and unwanted by her mother since she wished that Gladys had been born a boy, even going as far as refusing to nurse her or hold her for the first 6 months of Gladys's life. Gladys believed growing up rejected shaped her behavior. She never wanted a man to touch her. She hated her brothers, she wore boys' clothing, and she had a crush on all of her elementary school teachers. What is Gladys's claim to gay fame? I'm gonna tell you. No, Sadie, leave your sister alone. All right. Not feeling accepted by her family, she ran away to Harlem in 1925 at the age of 16.
Where was she before that again?
Before that, she was in Philadelphia. She heard that the notorious Harry Hansberry Clam House, which is a speakeasy in Harlem, or was a speakeasy in Harlem, needed a male pianist. So, what did Gladys do when she heard that?
She learned the piano.
No, she already knew how to play the piano, but she began performing in men's attire. And it's here that she perfected her act and began to gain notoriety. So she like found a loophole. It was like, this is what you need. I'm gonna be that for you.
Yeah.
Which is so fucking cool. Soon enough, she became so successful that she bought her own apartment on Park Avenue in New York City.
Oh my, do you know the cross street?
I don't, but do you want to know how much she paid? Just guess how much she paid a month.
Oh, a month?
Yeah.
How much she paid a month?
Yeah.
400?
You're so close. $300, and guess what that would be in today's money? So $300 in like 1928, 1930.
I'm gonna say 7,000.
In today's money, Gladys paying $300 a month for her Park Avenue, New York City apartment would be $5,230.
Wow.
Which seems about right on a Park Avenue apartment.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was a 1-bedroom.
No, I don't think it was. It was like a full-on apartment.
Okay.
And she also had...
Which I'm like, that's a fucking steal.
Yeah. She also had servants and an area to park her very nice car.
Wow.
Her performances were comical and provocative for the era, and she often sang about her sexual relationships and called out men, which was very risky at the time. And she also flirted with women in the audience.
Yes! I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. I want to be at one of her shows.
No shit. Oh my god, what I wouldn't give. That would be so hot.
That's amazing.
She was known for taking popular songs and putting a promiscuous spin on them. She performed for all audiences, gay, straight, black, white, even gaining celebrity fans like Langston Hughes, who once... And Langston Hughes even wrote about Gladys saying, quote, "For 2 or 3 amazing years, Miss Bentley sat and played piano all night long, with scarcely a break between the notes, sliding from one song to another, with a powerful and continuous underbeat of jungle rhythm. Miss Bentley was an amazing exhibition of musical energy, a large, dark, masculine lady whose feet pounded the floors while her fingers pounded the keyboard. A perfect piece of African sculpture animated by her own rhythm."
What a compliment. My God.
With the repeal of prohibition, speakeasies in Harlem began to shut down.
What year are we in right now?
So as about now, this is probably 1930-ish. So the speakeasies that were there because of prohibition started to shut down because they weren't as popular anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So as they began to shut down, Gladys moved to California.
Oh,
I know.
Gladys.
I know. She never achieved as much success as she did in NYC, and even had to carry a special permits that allowed her to perform in men's clothing at the time because laws began to change. Throughout her life, she lived with different female partners and even married via a civil ceremony in 1931. But upon her relocating to LA during the McCarthy era, she started wearing dresses and apparently even married a man, though he is denied. Unfortunately, Bentley died of pneumonia unexpectedly at her home in Los Angeles on January 18, 1960, at the very young age of 52. My mom is like 52 right now. That is so young.
That is young.
At the time of her death, she had been more involved in the church and had just been ordained as a minister, despite never getting her official paperwork. She is buried beside her problematic mother at Lincoln Memorial.
Problematic mother.
She's buried beside her mother at Lincoln Memorial Park in Carson, California.
Wow.
And that is the story of the incomparable trailblazer, badass Gladys Bentley.
She sounds like an awesome human.
Yeah.
So can you tell me and the audience, again, what are we drinking and why?
Okay, we're drinking whiskey ginger, which is from the Prohibition era, because when Prohibition started, it was like anything goes, right? So there were bars, and it's like whoever could work at the bar was hired. So you have these young people who would work at the bar and be bartenders, and they weren't necessarily trained on how to be a bartender, but it was like, we need all the help that we can get. So sure, you are cute, you're young, you can be a bartender. So they were like, yeah, you want a whiskey and ginger? Here you go. You're like, well, we put these two things together, and here you go. And that's when a whiskey ginger became like popular, was during Prohibition, because it was easy. You didn't have to have a lot of skills to do it, and it works.
It works.
It works, right? I'm sure so many people drank these while Gladys Bentley was playing the piano and singing her tunes. So we're having those because of that. But also, the late and famous Greta Garbo once said about a whiskey ginger, quote, Baby G, you want to read that quote that Greta Garbo once said about
Yeah,
whiskey
I'd love
ginger?
to. I recommend you drink your whiskey ginger like Miss Garbo. Don't be stingy with the whiskey and let the soda pop act as a table decoration. That's kind of hot.
That's so hot. So
It is
basically,
hot.
it's like all whiskey and then little soda. Little whiskey.
Also, can I just say that I love that we both had historical figures this week that were from the Prohibition era.
And that we're women of color.
And that were women of color.
That's cool.
I mean, when we think about it, when we really get down to the nitty gritty, like pride is
Because of women of color, basically.
we can thank women of color and women of color who are also trans for pride, right?
Absolutely.
Like, they are the ones that started the riots. They are the ones that were out in the streets and
Absolutely.
let us allow ourselves to be who we are.
Which is again why we do this whole thing. Like, yeah, it's fun, we're having drinks, but it is really to learn because a lot of people don't know about these icons and these people who set the stage for us to be able to live and love how we do today.
Yeah.
And I know that it's scary today and we still have a lot of work to do, but they did a lot of work for us to be able to get here. And we're just gonna keep on fighting the good fight. And with that, we say cheers.
Cheers.
Love y'all.
Happy Pride
See you
Month.
next week.
See you next week.